So we're just going through mocked hands, basically.
Yeah. I think
Okay.
like it's the way that I like feel most comfortable probably.
Yeah.
Like
Okay. Yeah.
yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. I mean, apart from the fact that I find mocked hand samples always biased, but yeah, it should be fine.
Probably like still like for me it's like the best way like to get like conversation about hands is like always good, right?
Yeah. I don't know. It depends, you know. Like sometimes I see other regs discuss a hand, like I don't know, like on a forum or Discord or something, and they just
Mm-hmm.
go back and forth on trivial things, and they're not talking about any
Mm-hmm.
of the numbers. They're not showing like solver outputs. They're just talking about the way they think, and it's in the end it's kind of not coming to a final solution. So, yeah, sometimes it can be nice, but a lot of times not really. So it all depends.
All right, let's try.
But usually, if there is an interesting hand, then it's
Uh-huh.
either one of two things would be the best solution. Like it's either a very close hand where the actual decision doesn't really matter so much, so it's just not that important, or it's a spot where like you can figure out the solution like faster just in a solver or something, or like with math.
Mm.
Put it maybe.
Okay. All right. So in this hand we are against the fish.
Yeah.
His stats. I mean, his VP is pretty high. Like it's 2x and 3x. Like, do you think that we can fold some ace x's to 4x?
To a 4x, yeah, for sure. I would be folding ace. Oh my god. I think I would fold ace 6. I'm not like maybe ace. I don't know what ace I'd call, but and I probably wouldn't even like call. Like I'd probably just jam ace 10 plus and then fold like
Mm-hmm.
ace 6 to ace 8. I don't know. Maybe I'd call ace 9 and then like ace 2 and ace 2 to ace 5 can make wheel draws at least. So maybe
Mm-hmm.
I'd call with them more than ace 6, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I think about. The second thing is that I played this guy before, like, and I've seen like in few hands that he's like really like out of line with his like what he was doing was like really crazy. So I thought like maybe folding this would be a little bit over folding because if I hit topper, I'm probably gonna just like stack him anyway. Like he like that his forex is not so strong like given his antics.
Okay. Well, if his forex isn't that strong, I'd probably jam, and
Uh huh.
I'd probably call like my suited aces because they have more
All right.
playability.
All right. Yeah. That's I think right now like that would be the best decision. But instead I call. All right.
I don't know, man. I don't know. It's tough spot. Like I don't like this. I don't. I really don't know what to do. Like I just don't know, man. I don't play against this that often.
Uh
It's not
huh.
really a spot you can put in a solver either. So it's just confusing.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean,
I mean,
I'm
I
sure
mean,
that
like,
you're supposed to call, but
like playing right this kind of spots is like really important in getting good at like real playing good against fishes.
yeah, that's
Like,
true.
yeah, but I think like we can't fold. Like maybe to something like uh for me a borderline would be like 130, 140. Then right now I would think about folding. But still, like against this, like given the mm, implied odds, and back the flash draw and like an overcard that's if we hit it like that the card is the card that he can use as a bluff, right?
Yeah, I guess we have to
Uh,
call.
mhm. Okay, and right now?
Um, I would probably put in a block bet,
Okay, how much?
like about 100 or something.
hmm Like, yeah, I think like definitely we should bet, but like I thought about this guy and I think like in this spot, fishes like very rarely check their overpairs.
Yeah, that's true.
So probably and like hands like sevens, eights, tens are like not necessarily bad in it. And Jack X's probably they don't give a shit like so much if it pairs and just
Yeah, I
on this
mean,
SPR
he's probably
they
just
would
gonna
jam.
jam a jack, yeah.
Yeah, so like basically we have a hand that needs protection and like I don't know 80-90% of the time it's gonna be like the best hand here. And this board is quite drawy and I don't wanna like give out him equity for betting like small. So I think like given the SPR, I just jammed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
seems fine.
Mm-hmm. Insta call.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I think it's fine. Another. Oh no, he min raised. Okay.
All right.
So how
Okay.
deep are you? You're 10 big blinds deep?
Yeah,
About
10 beers.
11? 11 and a
Mm-hmm.
half? Okay. And he's min raising. I guess he doesn't have a proper min raising range, right? Because he's a fish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
Okay,
So
but would you fold it against a reg?
it's very close against a rag. Because a rag, well, actually, no, he's the deep stack. But like, if the rag was 10 big blinds deep and
Yeah,
you
yeah.
were the opposite, like you had
Uh,
20, then it would be very close. Right now, you probably have to
mm-hmm.
call because he's the deep stack and it's the other way around. So you've got less to lose than him.
Yeah, if he was like very short, I think I would call King 9 for sure. But King
Yeah,
8, I might fold.
I think King 9 is a hand you like always call, if I'm correct.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's all about stack depth. Obviously,
Yeah.
his range is quite his range should be strong at least.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, King 8 is borderline. I'm checking GTO charts right now. King 8 is
Mm-hmm.
like 50-50 call basically at 10 big blinds.
Alright. But it's like 12.
11 and a half, yeah. So at 12 it's like a call, yeah.
Uh-huh.
But in general, actually that's not true. Like personally, my min raise ranges are stronger than GTO. But I think most people's ranges are not. They're like the same or maybe a bit weaker. But I'm kind of exploiting
mm,
population a bit.
I think on 10-13 it's like it's much more stronger
Yeah.
than you
So
would
in
think of.
Okay. Well, in that case, it does make sense to fold even
Like
more than GTO.
yeah, like for example, this guy player ABC.
Yeah.
As you see, like on 10-18, he's like min raising only 16, and
I think
here like
I think 16 is okay.
yeah, it's okay, but I've seen some guys like 10, 12, something like that, even here.
It's supposed to like at 12 BBs, it's supposed to min raise 13%. At 10, it's supposed to min raise 8. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't have
I
it.
mean, basically very polarized, right?
Yeah, I don't have it divided. Like it's only 1018.
Yeah, me neither. That doesn't really matter too much. Like, you don't need to have it perfectly divided. It's
Mm-hmm.
you just kind of want to understand how the population plays. But
Mm-hmm.
like basically the reason why I raise stronger and like I fold more is because like people from the big blind call more. For a lot of people, like this is just snap call,
Mm-hmm.
when in reality it's like very close.
Mm-hmm. All right. So we call, check on the flop. He bets 1 BB. What do you do?
Just I think I'd always call.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like me too. Like I have a bag of flash draw. I block the flash draw. This 6-4 like doesn't make many gut shots or open ended.
Yeah,
Like
it's also really not the top of your range. Like you should still have like some king six or like even you can raise king ten or king jack, maybe a three betting king queen, but yeah.
mhm. Okay.
So I'd raise stronger hands. I don't want to kind of isolate myself into only stronger hands.
Mm-hmm. All right. Right now, do you think we could like donk or something?
Yeah, donking's definitely an option. I'm not sure if it's best.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. You can kind of do anything, but
Yeah.
I don't mind donking. If you donk, I think you have to call a few shoves with this since you have a additional equity.
Mm-hmm. Like I like the donk idea as a card that like kind of hits me more than him, and like might not be a barrable hand. I don't know. Yeah, but he checks. Okay, and right now like I might go for 60. Like I'm targeting the queen, sometimes like a weak pair, but very very rarely. So like basically, if I know like the most of his range I'm targeting ace X here, I might go like real small.
Yeah, I just what would I do? I would jam. Okay, because I got value. Like what the heck? Pretty
All right.
standard jam. I mean,
Okay.
solver wise, it's very standard to jam here.
All right,
Every
but
king is a very standard jam. I mean, he capped his range on the turn. He would be barreling every single 7/8. Yeah, he might sometimes, check with a better king sometimes, but we should just jam. But they should also be bluff catching with a queen. But I think most fish will bluff catch with a queen, anyways.
don't don't you think that they don't bluff catch with an ace here versus
Mm,
jam?
yeah, they don't, and I don't know if they should.
Like what bluffs do you have here? Like only flash draw, right? Maybe some pair turned into a bluff, but
Yeah, so the bluffs I guess it would mostly be like a four and some missed flush draws.
so like
And I
given
guess
your
you could
given
even,
your king X's, you would be like very very value heavy here.
um, maybe.
So let's say like you have a lot of value and like not really that much bluffs. Like don't you think that this is the spot that's like you want to go small? Like
No,
okay.
no. If you have, like,
Especially against fish.
well, against a fish, it's different. But, I mean, theoretically, like, he capped his range. Your king is, it depends on how nutted your hand is. And basically, over here, your king isn't actually, like, super strong, but it probably has 80% equity or more. and in those situations, GTO would overbet because your hand has so much equity. I mean,
Yeah, but okay,
I
I
could go over
know.
this hand later. It would be pretty interesting
All
in
right, all
solving it,
right.
but I think it's a pretty standard shove, and like a lot of people, they try to like bet small or something because they
Mhm.
think they want to get value from more things, but I mean, they need to call way less when you jam, or like they need to like shove as a bluff a lot more when you bet small, and you need to like kind of plan to call it off and hope they're not bluffing. So over here, when you're betting small, are you hoping
Mhm.
that he calls or are you hoping that he bluff raises?
I hope both options are like an option for
But
them.
both doesn't really
Uh,
make sense because you have to pick one of them because you're banking on him being one type of
I
player
mean,
type.
yeah, but I
Like
mean,
the
like,
aggressive type of fish is always going to be raising, right? And so the max exploit would be to bet small in order to induce a raise, whereas a more passive type of fish would be more on the calling side, and so he's not gonna like raise you, but he might hero call with an ace sometimes or like a weak pair, but he might also just hero call if you jam anyways. So against the more passive type of fish, it would actually be better to jam anyways. So if you
mhm,
want to play like, max exploit, that's
mhm.
I would generally still jam against passive fish anyways.
I mean, like for me, max exploit here. That's like, yeah, I know, like you want to like achieve one thing mostly, but I think like most of his range here, like after this line, is gonna be just an A6, right?
Hello.
So yo
Hi.
yo, I wanna like make him call as often as possible, and I think like I'm achieving that by this sizing. Maybe like 60, 70 would be just better. But yeah, I think like that's the sizing. There's gonna be probably inducing as well, like sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So like given the I don't know equity, let's just think like how often that do you think like he's calling with an ace here?
If I jam, I don't know. It doesn't really matter. What matters more is how much he's supposed to call.
Okay, but do you think they call like okay like I'm gonna say like if I bet 1/4, I think like if they have an a6 and they probably like I don't know 70-80% of the time they have it, let's say 70, they're gonna call it like I don't know 80% or something like that.
I don't think they'll call 80% even to this sizing.
If they have an a6,
No,
they
maybe 50. I don't know.
all right. Let's make it 50.
Like an ace is really weak here.
All right. So based on that, we achieved like 17 chips on that, and to a jam,
Maybe like
it's
10. I don't know. 10, 15.
it's gonna be he would have to call like that many percentage of the
So
time.
about 10. So, yeah, wouldn't be a big difference, basically.
Mm, all right.
Also, he's you're probably missing value from a queen, or like maybe a bit more value from a six, possibly. I don't know. Or like
Mm,
pocket jacks, pocket tens, stuff like that.
yeah, given this assumption, yeah, probably, but like in my opinion, that might be a little bit wrong, but all right. Waffle, what would you do? Like the line when we call preflop, check call on the flop, check turn, and we have a decision on the
I
river.
mean, you're also you seem to think that we're very like value heavy here, but you're really not. You do have like a ton of just missed flush draws against a one big blind bet on the flop. You should have like a decent amount of like hands like ace x of diamonds or like uh naked ace of spades with like ace with any overcard to the six, basically like ace seven of spades or something, and those would be good hands to turn into bluffs as well. So in
Mm-hmm.
like the whole point is you're jamming here for value because I mean because you have value, but you should put in enough bluffs as well.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't do that. Like they tend to go in one way or the other. Like they bluff too much or they value bet too much, and that's where you can exploit them. Obviously, it's hard to do, and it doesn't really matter against fish. You want to take the max exploit line. But against a calling, like, yeah, then against a fish, I'd want to know what type of fish he is. Is he like aggro fish or calling station fish? Against
Mm,
aggro fish, I don't mind this bet to induce. Against
yeah.
calling
So
station fish, I'd rather just jam anyways.
okay. So Buffalo, what would you do?
I guess my first intuition was to bet slightly bigger than half pot, but the stack sizes are weird. I think that first of all I would check raise on the flop and then shove turn, I guess.
Why would you check raise on the flop?
I think we are strong enough to do so
Yeah,
for value.
check raising does not achieve very much here.
Like,
Like, you're kind of, you're folding out all the hands that you want that have very little equity against you, and you're only getting continued on by stronger hands. So, like, I mean, all of his stronger kings will call, and he doesn't have very many sixes. I mean, he might call with an underpair, right? But a lot of fish don't even bet underpairs on this board, so
okay. I just felt like we are strong enough to do so and I can put my all stack on the turn.
like the
Uh, yeah.
you should do it based on kickers. King 8 here is one of your weakest kickers here, and like, you've got King 9 is another pretty weak one. King 10 and King Jack are very close. King Queen you might 3-bet pre-flop because you're pretty shallow, but if you had King Queen, that's a very obvious 3-bet. King 6, King 4, if you have suited combos of those are obvious check raises for value reasons. King 8 is like the bottom of your range, kind of.
Yeah, that makes
The
sense.
bottom of your
And
King X range, I mean.
okay. And good bluff catcher.
Okay. After this line, so you would bet like 120, right? As I've heard on the river.
Yeah, I guess if I would. Mm, mm, uh, I don't think like shoving is. I wouldn't go for a shove. Like I don't think they would call like sixes to that. And as you said, there's so many sixes after c-bet. And yeah, Queen X is my call, but I'm not sure about that. If Rex are doing that.
Okay,
Yeah, probably they are. Probably they're calling most of the Queen X's, I guess. Mm,
so
so what
can I
else?
ask, if you had a bluff here, what sizing would you go?
Big.
Like, all in?
Probably.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense then. Because, like, you're taking an exploitative approach. So if you think that he's going to be folding a six to a jam, then it makes sense to be jamming as a bluff and not with a king. In which situation you kind of want to do the opposite and, like, not jam with your king eight here. So it kind of all depends on how you think the fish will play.
Yeah, but I don't expect random players to call to overbet with some weak holdings.
Hmm.
That's why I'm guessing something around half pot. They are not folding the weak pairs. I'm just targeting. If I'm playing versus fish, I targeting the maximum sizing they will call with most of their range.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't. What were your conclusions? Like, you prefer shoving? You prefer small betting like maremonkey did?
I mean, GTO would jam, so I would jam. I don't give a fuck.
Okay.
I mean, like, I don't care about all of these exploitative shit. Like, I find that if I try to be exploitative, I end up exploiting myself in general.
Okay.
So I would just do what is correct theoretically.
Okay, you are talking like Paras.
No, Perez doesn't even know what GTO is.
Me too. Me.
He just sees GTO and he does it. At least I understand why GTO is shoving here. I mean, I did explain it. You're getting a lot of value. At least he should be. He should be calling his queens and like enough bluff catches and enough 6x. But I mean, I'm just saying that in theory. When I watch a hand review or I review stuff, I talk from a theoretical perspective. In game, I might do something different based
Okay.
on my feel.
All right. So I bet like real small, and he jams. What do you do?
Uh,
This is fish, yes?
Yep.
I mean, I see that you called and you won, but I
Y-
don't
I,
know if we should call.
Like, like don't look at that. Like, I can like.
Yeah, you should like hide that.
All right.
But I don't know if I want to call.
Okay.
I would call. I think that there is solely the combination of two pairs. The only value hands he has are so two pairs with queen X's probably, and there is not too many combos of those, and we need only 30%. So we don't need to find that many bluffs in his range to justify calling.
Yeah, like generally, I don't find fishes like bluff heavy, like in most of the river spots, but here like I think like fishes like reverse it. Like usually it makes sense to like to turn into a bluff like mispleasure or something like that. Like fishes I think don't do that. Like they just randomly maybe not like they should turn into a bluff and mispleasure. I mean they should do it on the like a good card that makes them like some two pairs that makes them other equity. And right here like this queen just doesn't make much sense because like only hands that he improves like is like queens
Yeah, that's
that I
true. But also queens might
and
barrel on the
and
turn.
and maybe queen six suited, which is like very small. Mhm. And also I think like queens a lot of times gonna check on the flop. So like given that he's like doesn't really have that much value, doesn't really make much sense. And I know that with my sizing, I might induce them sometimes. I'm I have to be like ready to call right here. So I did.
Yeah, okay, seems fine. Nice.
Okay, I gotta. Okay, I won't hide it right now. We already know.
With the fish?
Yeah, it's fish.
Okay. God, this guy's not
Okay.
folding. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
he's
only
not
one hand.
folding.
Well,
Hmm.
raise pots, it's a big sample actually.
Yeah, he's not folding. He's isolating. Check raise, he's not folding on flop. So I think like generally probably I would cut this. Like I would just fold pre-flop right now.
Okay. I would also check the flop.
Mm-hmm. Would you fold it on pre-flop?
Maybe. Like, maybe based on game flow, if he's been ISOing everything, then yeah. But in general, even against aggro people, I wouldn't. But if it's, like, if he's really aggro, and then yeah,
Mm-hmm.
maybe. But usually not, right?
Buffalo?
Yeah, also depending on the game flow.
Alright. Alright. So as 6PT said, probably like checking here is fine. Yeah, like given the stats, I like it very much.
I'd
But
always check. Like, especially, since we do have some kind of backdoors, I don't really want to get check raised off this hand, because I have to fold if he check raises this one.
mm-hmm.
But I
Yeah.
kind of like the thought of, like, I don't know, turning a spade or like a 10 for an open ender, then we can do something with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right now, I would check, but in game, I wasn't like focused enough probably to do this.
Versus guys who are not check raising, then you are c-betting, yeah?
Um,
Or you are also more into...
yeah, like if they're like really stationist, I mean like get a bigger sample on turn, and it's like kind of similar that
Yeah, I mean they might check call a lot as well, but if they want check raise, then you like c-betting, because I think c-betting would be nice. Also because of the
mm,
backdoors, and we block some of his check calling
might
range.
be I would like more like like I think it would be a better if we had a board with second cards. The second highest card, if would be a 7, it would be better. Like it's always like more. Then you have like more cards for barrel than not. Like with an 8, I think it's like it makes much more this. It makes a difference.
I don't know. If I see bet here, I tend to just barrel everything anyway. They're calling
Yeah,
like a lot
probably
of.
that's the plan.
They're calling like a lot of gut shots here. So even if it's a 2, I'll just barrel. Because they fold their gut shots on the turn.
Okay.
But on the river, I could give up, unless it like brings like a queen or like some good river, basically.
All right. Let's go. Um, as played. Do you borrow?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean,
Three
mm,
quarter, three quarters.
I would actually just bet like, small against the fish and just bet big on the river. Like, just to get them to call a lot on the turn with a bunch of bad hands and then try to fold them off something on the river.
What do you mean by small? Like half pot or even less?
Yeah, like half pot. I tend not to go less than half pot.
Mhm.
Unless I want to like block bet with value.
Yeah, I like it. Because the most fold equity we will always have on the river. Not always, but probably in the spot. So
All right.
It's my standard against fish, yeah.
Yeah, like my standard here is like 60. Like I wanna like to fold him an 8 or 5 right now. I know he's gonna like call 8 and 5 with Gatshots anyway to any sizing, but I think like 60 and 40 might make a difference. Like if he doesn't have a Gatshot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And
Oh, that sucks. I'm not bluffing.
I don't think it sucks. I think like it's a really really good card and a really really good run out for triple barrel. As like if he has a jack, he either like in most of the time think he would check raise on the flop or donk on the river.
Yeah, but this guy
So
looks like a station, right? So against most people it doesn't suck, but against this guy in particular, it's not very happy. I think he's gonna
I,
call a 5 here.
I think it's like very very like different. Like people might be stationed on the flop but not be stationed on the river. Like it's like two different scenarios for fishes, like different situations.
Okay. Well, we have no info on his river, but we do on his flop and
Yeah,
pre-flop.
yeah, sure. Like, but overall, I think like it's a very very good. I mean, it's a good card. Like king and ace would be maybe a little bit better, but still, like I think like most of his range is gonna be an 8 or an 5 with with a 10 or 9 9 block actually, but not that it's not that important. So yeah, I just went for jam here, and he folds. Waffle,
Yep.
what would you do there?
Yeah, Marfe's intuition was to bet small just to fold out his misdraws, but I think I like it. I think it will be profit. It will be shown more profit in my eyes than check backing for sure, or even the
Yeah,
small bet.
yeah, but his draw that you are like, whereas it's like 10-7 maybe.
Yeah, it's not that much. I think like I also think
I mean, he could have some flush draws, right?
Flash draw maybe, but on a 10,
Maybe he's got
so
like king 10 or something weird. I don't know.
I think this guy would like ISO king 10,
Probably,
so
yeah.
like yeah, we are not like I think we should not focus on targeting or folding error here.
okay, I like your over, but I like it way more than check backing to be honest.
I don't.
Would like and like if I would use something different, I would maybe use like 220 maybe. Like given the SPR, I'd just like to jam, and also what I do is like I go for insta jam there, like just to increase fold equity.
Yeah, Insta Jam makes sense. I mean, against
Yeah.
fish, it works. From what I've
Yeah,
noticed.
yeah. On poker size, I had a hotkey on the mouse for those insta jams. On Winamax, it's not that easy.
Nice.
Let's go for the next hand.
Hello.
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 Hey. So this guy's a reg? Or a fish?
Yeah, this guy's a reg. I mean, it's probably one of the weaker ones, I would say.
Okay. Anyways, I'm betting like 3/4
Against the reg?
against everyone. It's very standard. Yeah,
Okay.
it's actually pretty bad to bet small here. I mean, I'm assuming you don't even have a big bet range. But maybe you do. But like,
No.
especially Ace King is like one of the best hands to bet big with. It's just that you're missing out on so much value. You're basically exploiting yourself. It's not like he can make a mistake against it. your small bet, or but like you're just not getting value from a 10, or like queen jack, king jack. And
Okay.
you're not putting fives in a tough spot as well. Like a five should be indifferent to calling or not against a big bet. But yeah, it's actually a very bad strategy to just not have a to just use small bets on ace xx boards, button versus big blind. You're like losing a ton of EV. Like the EV difference is huge.
Okay, but like with what kind of like no main house would you bet big also?
You're supposed to bet this flop pretty much 100% of the time, frequency wise. And the split should be about 50-50 between a small and large bet. And the small bets should include like almost all your tens, weak aces, and then for the strong hands, you want some two pairs, like kings, queens, jacks. Like under pairs also work well as small bets. And then otherwise, like just bare strong aces go big. And then for the bluffs, for the big bluffs, you usually want to use them with like backdoor equity type of hand. So any like backdoor flush draw, any like 9-7 of hearts, whatever, or like queen jack offsuit. That's direct, like, because if you bet 20, they might be calling a lot of like king six of hearts or whatever. Okay, you can't have that, but king six of clubs or whatever. So if you bet big, he has to fold those, and you're really happy to have him fold king six when you've got queen jack, right? So yeah, it's. I mean, you need to study this spot a bit, but it's not hard to implement once you understand it.
Okay. We'll think about it. Do you guys bet big here?
Yes.
No, I do not.
I also versus fishes yes, but versus Rex not.
Nico?
No, I do not. I bet
Yeah, and you're missing out on a ton of
40,
EV.
yeah.
Like it's a big league.
That's funny because I have the best results from the button.
So you can
But
improve it
okay.
even more, probably.
Yeah, probably.
All right. How much do you bet there?
95.
So yeah, exactly 20. It's like the first hand of the game. Either 100 or just pot, basically.
Nico?
yeah, I think pot, but a little bit less to have a better SPR on the river seems great as well.
Yeah,
But
it's
no,
like
no less.
my standard is like 3/4 there. SPR is gonna be like 1-1 or something like that. So not that small, but I think like versus a pot, he might overfold something. Even a pair with a gadget, I think sometimes they would fold there.
Okay.
Do you think they would call always? Anyways,
With what? With what?
versus pot. With like a 10 jack, 10 king, 5 jack, 5
No, I
king.
think people will start to fold, and they're supposed to as well, right? So it's fine.
Yeah, that's why I'm afraid to use such a big sizing and picking a smaller one.
Yeah. So right now, what do you do?
Damn.
I would jam too, yeah.
Yeah, also.
Okay. Yeah.
But
I did
with
that also.
with weaker ace axis, I'm using smaller sizing because now we win versus ace axis, and let's say with ace jack, I'm not going for all in.
That's ace 9 and ace 8.
And are you
Is
bet
it a jam? I
folding
don't know.
your ace 9? You're bet calling, I guess, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Bet
but
folding. I don't know, cause
yeah,
calling, I don't know.
fuck, maybe
No.
even bet folding. That would be weird. Because I'm thinking about something like 120 to make sure Queen X's and 10 X's call,
okay.
and then what fish will check?
This is a reg.
Okay.
Yeah, I think most regs will check fives, but it doesn't really matter that much. I think we're still strong enough here. I mean, if you were slow playing like Queen 10 or something on the turn, we beat that now too, so I think we kind of have enough value for sure with Ace King. I mean, I'd say Ace 9 also has enough value to jam, but okay. I'm not into this, change sizing
Yeah.
too much.
Yeah, like my idea was here, like, he's just gonna call anyway, an ace-x if he has it, and like, given my image and things I used to do, like, I think they might even snap a queen here. So yeah.
Yeah.
He has an ace-x this time.
Guys, I have question.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say we are playing 25 big blinds deep and heads up small blind, and flop is ace, queen, jack with flush draw, okay?
What did you do pre-flop?
Okay, mini raise and he calls 25
Mm-hmm.
big blinds deep. I needed to solution.
Ace
And
jack.
ace, queen, jack,
Mm-hmm.
and let's say queen and jack are in clubs. And I want to know how do you, because I needed to node lock and I want to be sure I do it correct. How many king X's, jack X's and 10 X's they will call? What do you think, like king X's, gut shots?
Versus
many?
what sizing?
And
Three quarters.
what
Three
position are you
quarters.
again? Small blind versus
Head,
big blind?
heads up, small blind.
Heads up. Okay.
How many king X's they will call versus 3/4?
So that's a gut shot, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, but I think they should call about like a quarter of them.
Quarter. But okay, I want to know how do you feel that our opponents will call? How many of them?
I think they are calling more often. Like the population, like they're not folding the gut shots like 3/4 of the time. I don't know. I didn't
Yeah,
ask them.
I just want. Yeah, but I want to hear your. How do you feel about it? Your impression? Or
I think that mostly they call. Like,
Yeah, I've got a pretty good idea, so I think I would call about 25% of the time. But
yeah,
like
yeah,
I'm like, not really most of the population.
yeah. You're cheating, Pierre.
I'm like a GTL bot kinda, but not really.
Okay. And how about jackexes? Maremonkey, you don't know the solution, so you will be my. How many jackexes? Third pair.
80% of the time they call.
Okay, and
70, 80.
10 X's?
10 X's, I don't know, probably they still call like at least 30-40%.
Okay.
I
Okay,
mean,
that's
they should be folding all the tens, right? Like tens is
yeah.
really bad.
Yeah,
Jacks also, like they should fold more than half of them for sure.
they should, but they
True.
don't.
Yeah, that's true. They don't. So yeah, you could be very value heavy in that spot.
Okay, thank you. I got everything I wanted. It's pretty similar to what I thought, but just wanted to be sure.
Alright. This is a reg. Okay.
Oh, nice sizing. I like it.
Would you bet even bigger?
I mean, that's 75%, right?
69.
75% is good. I like it. I mean, you can do 70 chips or 69, whatever. It doesn't make a difference, really. As long as it's like a big size, even pot would be okay. But do you know why this is such a good sizing?
It's a flop that I'm not betting often, so yeah, I'll just go big here.
Okay, that's one reason. One of the biggest reasons is because like a lot of hands that you want him to just, like a lot of hands that he can call to a small sizing have a decent amount of equity against your particular hand or against a 10. Well, maybe with 10 jack that's not as true, but like let's say you had ace 10 or something. He might have a hand like, I don't know, queen 8, like for example with or like queen 7, or like some backdoor spades like king 6 with backdoor spades. If you bet small, then he can continue with pretty much all of them, and you're allowing him to hit that like overcard really easily, and you're not happy to see any overcard, even except maybe a jack, like a queen and king do give you extra straight draws. So on this particular board, it's not as relevant as like on 8-7-2 or whatever, but on on like the lower the board, the more relevant it is, basically. Because over here, you're probably not folding out king queen anyways, to be honest. Yeah, you're not folding out king queen. That's just a fact. So it's actually even better on lower boards to bet big.
How do you choose your bluff?
You pick bluffs that have a bit of equity. I mean, like a lot of people are not bluffing, for example, ace-x, but ace-x are some of the best bluffs to have. So like hands like ace-2 to ace-4, they have a bit of backdoor will draw equity, and like no one's really expecting you to be bluffing ace-4. So if you do hit an ace, then it's good for you. And then usually I'd also tend to check more like of the weaker draws, like 7-8. I'd rather check 7-8, but I might be happier to bluff queen jack because that has more equity. And check most backdoor equity hands. So like if you've got ace-x of spades, that wants to check a lot more because you can realize the equity on the turn.
Thanks.
Yeah, pretty much it's like what I do there. Alright. Bang bang.
That's really big. I'd fold.
So you are not a GTO bot.
No, but I mean, like population is just under bluffing so much with that particular sizing, and when when they do donk as a bluff, they usually pick a small size. Like they pick like 25% or maybe half pot max. He's choosing 75% here.
Yeah,
Like,
from what I've seen, like Rex play the bluffs there as they like dunk in 1/4 on third. They just give a river.
yeah, exactly. They just want to like donk small to realize their own equity or something. And so, just from experience, regulars donks here, when they use this huge sizing, it is way more value heavy than it's supposed to be. And I would just fold, which is fucking stupid, but yeah.
What do you guys think?
I agree, and even though also we have the jack, so if they're doing it with some kind of draws, we are limiting their numbers of those draws by having a jack. Yeah, I like it. I also think it's more value oriented than bluff.
Okay.
Same.
Would you call without a club?
Without what?
Without a jack and without a club.
I don't think that this clap matters because this is a 10. But without Jack, I'm probably still folding.
I'd probably fold everything except overpass, to be honest. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
Yeah.
just because I think they can like do this with a 10 sometimes because they're idiots. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Same for me. All right. We get a fish.
Do you shoving sometimes like this versus very wide button?
No, man.
I think it will be a nice profit.
It's
But
it's
never.
very very profitable. I mean, extremely profitable actually. I don't dislike it. But you know, GTO would be shoving hands more like 9-10 suited, but 6-8
But
suited isn't terrible.
but don't you think it would be like way too variable, like to play it?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it does definitely increase the variance, but you're still gonna show a very big profit, more than what GTO would be showing. I mean, the main thing is that this guy's a reg, right? The blue pill. And
Mm-hmm.
so a lot of regs tend to over limp here, which is totally fine because the fish is limping a really bad range. And this guy's usually not ISOing enough. But, you know, if I was this guy, I would be ISOing like a ton of random trash because this guy's weak and I want to be heads up with a fish. I want to get you out of the pot. And then I can like play a bigger pot with a fish, basically, which I'm fine with. And I take down these 20 chips here. It's like a really profitable spot, actually. But since this guy's probably not ISOing much, I like limping still this, but I'd ISO shove 10-9 suited still, to be honest.
All right. Nico?
I personally like to limp, but yeah, I understand that it's profitable to shove.
All right.
But I like to limp. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
want to play post flop.
And you guys aren't defending your limps here, are you? Either you're not like limping stuff like pocket tens, or you're not limping like, I don't know, ace 10 suited, are you?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely not.
Exactly. And the thing is, this guy over here is a reg, so he knows that you're not limping that shit. I mean, you're not limping like pocket tens, you're not trapping. And it means this guy has the right to be ISOing it a shit ton. And you're probably also ISO limping more than you should be. You're probably limping like 100% of your suited hands, maybe like even 2-7 suited. Maybe you're like, I don't know, king, every king. And you're supposed to be
Mm-hmm.
folding quite a lot of these, like king X. Even like weak off-suited connectors, like you're supposed to be folding them a lot, even just according to GTO. And so you're limping way more and you're not protecting it nearly as much. And so it makes it so much more profitable for the big blind to be attacking this player especially and then just get heads up with a fish. It's like a very profitable spot for this player to ISO a ton. And so I'm always limping tens and pocket nines, ace 10 here to trap this guy a lot because they a lot of regs tend to ISO every ace too much properly, and they tend to ISO a lot properly because this guy's extremely capped basically.
Mm-hmm. Okay. As played, would you donk there sometimes?
No.
Why? No reason.
Okay. Just an idea. You have an opening there. The board seems kind of barrelable. Yeah, that's it. All right. Now,
I
do you
don't know.
probe?
It's a weird spot. I'll listen to you guys. I don't know. I would probably just give up, to be honest, because I think they might have a king sometimes in their checking ranges, and like I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to bet and barrel into two people really, because like even if they don't have a king, they have so many draws that they could call, I don't know, if they have something like queen 10 or queen 9 or whatever, like they're not folding, and then if they hit a queen, they're not folding again probably.
But don't you think that you can go like for button barrel then? Like, just like sometimes king gonna raise you on a turn, and like.
I'd rather do it from the big blind, because then like someone's checked you twice.
So if you bet there, what sizing would you use?
On the big blind or small blind?
On the small blind.
I probably wouldn't bet, but if I would, I don't know. I'd probably just pot it, just represent a king or something.
Guys?
I'd probably want a much stronger like draw though, to be honest. Like I'd probably want a flush draw. Or like
Guys,
a 9-10 or something, because like a 9 or 10 could be good against a 7, maybe. I don't know.
What would you do?
I think I will go for 40 if I have to choose a size. I think we are going to have a lot of fold. Be so different than pot. Regs don't use to bluff this kind of spots.
Buffo?
I'm okay to make a big blind fold, but I'm kind of like a button to be a recreational player. Might call too wide.
I personally I don't like using big sizing and then barreling because there will be a lot of misdraws on the river, and for some players it might be easy to bluff catch. I also don't like the option of checking because someone will start betting big and then we are in ugly spot. I'm wondering about small sizing and then kinda capping the ranges. Like just one BB bet and maybe sometimes barrel on the river, but I don't know. I was thinking loud. But only in game I would just bet like you did, like 40, 45. But
Yeah.
I'm not convinced by any other options.
Yeah, right now I think I like the 1BB option here. Like guard shots and like weak purse probably gonna call anyway against 40-45 maybe.
Yeah, but on the river we still like in ugly spot after 1BB bet. Because we don't represent much and they make
I mean, you're bluffing into 2 people, right? So like you bet 1 big blind. Are you gonna keep bluffing if both of them call? Because that's gonna happen quite often, I think.
Yeah, I will.
I mean, if both of them are gonna call, maybe give up more on the river.
I have impression, I had a weird impression that if you attack really aggressive with big sizing versus 2 people, then they are more willingly to fold than versus 1.
Yeah, they should be.
Yeah, but I see so much folds in that spot.
Yeah, because they should fold a lot more, I think, based on your assumed range. Like,
yeah, and they split in. They had to defend. I don't know how to say that in English.
yeah, they need to split the defense range.
Like, exactly.
Like instead of only one person needing to call for both, like, I mean, instead of both of them needing to defend the same range, like they can split it together. Yeah.
And if we use big sizing on the river, then they don't have to defend really wide. And if we will split it by half, then it's really easy for them to defend. That's my impression. That we want them to make a mistake. Yeah. but I don't know.
Yeah, but I went for 3/4. I don't hate it. It's like the sizing I would use with a king or, I don't know, 2 pairs of stuff. So yeah. And right now, what do we do?
Will the block bet against fish, I think.
Yeah, I also betting really small.
I don't know, man. Like what, 50?
Even 40, just to fold out his misdraws. I don't want to use big sizing. There is still some king axes in his range.
Yeah, I think betting big is kind of suicidal here, but I like betting small or just giving up is fine too.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if I would bet big, I would bet like an overbet, like 210 or something like that. But like, I don't think it's a spot for it right now. Like, we're not getting folds from King X anyway, and probably like some like if he has a 7 or a 5, like he would bet sometimes on a flop. So yeah, like we should like most of his range that we are targeting to fold is like we like better draws than ours. So most of the time I'm gonna just like bet real small, like 1/4 here.
Okay.
Yeah, and like okay, let's go for the last one. All right. Maybe not the last one is gonna be pretty fast. Like this is like first few hands, but as you see, like this guy like doesn't really want to play. Do you think like folding here is an option?
Always.
Yeah, but I just shove pre-flop to be honest. Like open shove, I mean.
Okay. 15?
Yeah, very standard for me.
All right.
Against fish, I mean, obviously.
All right.
I mean,
Nico?
especially against this type of player, like if he's gonna fold anyways to a min raise so much.
Nico, what would you do?
Against a fish, I like to min raise to play post flop.
This hand really sucks to play post flop, right?
Yeah.
Is it?
Oh, what?
Absolutely, it's really bad. I mean, like what you're gonna do on like, you know, Jack 8-5 flop, unless you hit a pair or like a draw, like you're not really that happy when you see a flop.
On Jack 8-5.
Yeah.
I'm just checking.
Delay and barrel.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that gives opportunities to them to do stuff, and like it just, you know,
Yeah, it gives them, but do they use it?
yeah, they do, and it like basically you're min raising in a spot where you could just jam, and like if they have a hand, they're gonna 3-bet. I mean, if you're not gonna min raise fold this, then you, like open shoving is always better. If you think he's such a nit that you can min raise fold, then okay, you can min raise fold. Like, but if you're never gonna min raise fold this, then open shoving is always better against a fish, especially if he's not 3-betting enough. And also, like, yeah, on different flops, like basically if you min raise and he calls, you're allowing him to see like 3 cards on the flop for free, where you really want to hit a pair. Like it just sucks to min raise this hand against a fish. It's been also proven in Russian databases, like by numbers, that the EV of open shoving these hands against fish at less than 20 big blinds is just strictly better than min raising.
So on 18 big blinds deep, you also want to open shove this?
It's my standard, yeah.
Wow. So what are the hands that we are talking about? Ace 10 is maximum, or Ace Jack is the top of our range?
Like Ace Jack would be like top, yeah.
And
But
the
like
bottom is Ace Deuce, yeah?
no, like Ace 8 maybe. Cause like if you start jamming Ace 2, then they have a lot worse hands to call with. I mean, a lot better hands, like better aces. If you jam with Ace 9 to Ace Jack, those are like hands where you're probably not gonna min raise fold anyways. But like if you just open shove, they still call with a lot of worse hands. They call with King Jack. They call with like Ace 6, whatever. Whereas
Yeah,
they
that's
might not have
true.
three bet them, and it's just like this isn't even my work. It's like Russian database showed that it's the most profitable line to take.
Okay, it's for me it's 100% counterintuitive, but I won't argue about if you saw the numbers.
Alright. Yeah, so I made a mistake, just jammed that. I think it should be a fold.
No, for me it's not a fault.
Like versus a guy that like doesn't really
mean,
want to play. I
against
think.
this guy, it makes a lot of sense to min raise and min raise fold for everything I just said, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's
I
go
think
for
you
it.
should fold, but it's okay to call. Well, it's not a big mistake.
Mm-hmm. Okay, this is gonna be the last one. Yeah. Just a call there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
This guy is kind of aggressive, if I'm correct.
Yeah, and he's really, really like call happy also.
I think he has like a 40% check raise against me from heads up big blind.
Yeah, like he's really creative.
I mean, he's got
Like,
big check raise here too.
uh-huh. Yeah, so like normally I would just call her, but I think against this guy, and I know he just loves to level himself. I just raised her just because like I think I'm like under-repping my King X by raising more than by calling against him. What do you think?
Yeah, sometimes do it versus guys that I have really crazy dynamics against.
Yes, if you like to check raise a lot, you will have a lot of bluff. Check raising. So I think when you are raising in, it can put you on a lot of bluff as well
Mm-hmm.
to do that himself.
Yeah,
Mm.
don't think it matters what you do, to be honest. You have the nuts, you can raise. As long as you don't fold, doesn't matter. I mean, I don't know. In general, if I think someone can bluff, then I'd let them keep bluffing. But yeah, if you think someone's crazy enough to re-raise you, then you can also do
I
that.
I don't see him as bluff happy. I just see him as a more of a station. Like he bluffs. I don't know, probably quite normal. I'd say.
He's not
Like
really a station. Like he's got 52 fold frequency. That's relatively high,
yeah,
especially
but
compared to a lot of regs. I mean, this is a decent
yeah,
sample. It's 2K sampled, so
yeah, but
definitely he's
I
not a
remember
station.
I remember showdowns like like different spots. Like I mean like
Yeah, so
spot
he's
that.
a station in specific spots. Then that's what you mean, not like
Yeah,
overall.
yeah, exactly. And like I think it's a spot that if you get a trips, he's not gonna push you on it if you're gonna raise there. Like if he's a guy that he loves to level himself.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, so I did. And I think like in this spot he's gonna probably just float me with many like ace X's are just gonna call always probably. Like,
Yeah, I mean they should, I think.
And still he's probably gonna float, I don't know, broadways or something like that. So yeah, hand with a heart or something.
I mean that's fine by him, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't. So like by raising, I think it's still alright. Like he's gonna level himself and float like some very weak hands, and also probably gonna call anyway like the good ones. And here, what do you do?
Well, I would barrel just because there's 2 flush draws. And I don't think he's folding a pair. And yeah, I mean, I guess you can check because he go for the bet check bet. But I mean, basically, when you have the nuts, I don't think you can make a mistake as long as you don't fold, as I said. So I don't really think it matters what you do.
Guys?
Yeah, no preference.
What?
No preference. Check, bet. I'm okay with all the possibility.
Yeah, I'm okay with betting.
I mean, in general, when I have value, I tend to bet just because I want to have value when I bet for my overall range, and I want to be able to bluff with the same line. But yeah, again, I'm not I'm not like super exploitative, but yeah.
Yeah, like as I said before, I guy especially lately like that he loves to level himself. So I decided just to check there as like to show that I just tried to bluff on the flop and just give up on the turn. Like okay, there are 2 flash draws, but still.
It's actually it's a really like smart line actually. I mean, the more I think about it, the more I like it, just because it's kind of like non-standard, and people will be really confused by what you're doing. People won't expect you to be putting like playing a king like this. So I like it more and more, basically. Yeah.
Okay, right now he checks. What do you do?
Yeah, I would jam. I guess you could block bet, but I just want to maximize my value, and I'm not expecting like any check raise bluffs in this spot, so I just jam. Like if I thought he might have some check raise bluffs, I would go and bet small. But
Buffalo?
Yeah, I like it. I also agree with Shovin.
Yeah. I
What's
also
that to
like
think?
like the jam, like for the reason of him like leveling. And still he has like those pocket pairs and ace X's there, and I think like both of those holdings are gonna call quite often after this line. And he just snapped it. Probably on top of his range. Anyway.
yeah, his call's probably okay.
Yeah. All right. Thank you guys. It was really interesting.
Thanks.
Cool, nice hands.